what I do aspire to is be able to do more things within my community. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to want things that maybe not other people want you to want, sort of career-wise and things like that. It doesn't make you a bad person. I think that's one of the biggest downfalls in society today. I love technology. I love social media. But I think one of the biggest downfalls we've got today with our young people is social media and the internet.
Hello, welcome to The Inspiring Woman. Thank you for tuning in. Today we have a special guest, amazing EAL teacher that I've been looking forward to interview for so long. And finally, the time has arrived. We have with us the amazing Claudia López from Colombia. Mm-hmm. So welcome to the show. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
No, thank you so much for having me. And I've been looking forward to this for so long.
So tell us a little bit more about you. How did you, you're from Colombia.
Yes, I am.
You came here to check around basically around 11.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you find it, the changes? How did it start it?
I came here when I was 11. I did have some sort of knowledge of what kind of London was like because my dad was working here. But I mean, it's very different to come and, for a few weeks or a week or whatever, and then be permanently here. So it's really weird because I feel like I kind of don't really remember much. I've blocked out a lot. But I know I missed my family. The changing culture, the language, schools, the transport, the food, the cold, going from being surrounded by a really huge family in Colombia to just 4 people. Here in London is very hard. We never had that sort of external support of having family members here. So that was really hard. That was really hard and really hard for my mum as well, just not having, support from family here in an unknown country where you don't speak the language.
Yeah, we all come from big families.
Yeah.
And suddenly 3 or 4, 5 people
Mm-hmm.
everywhere in London, not even with you. North, east.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not even time to see them actually in the week or maybe once a month.
Yeah.
That's London.
That is London, but at least knowing that you have family here, I think that impacts.
It does.
Or that impacted me hugely. And I think it still impacts me still today because, well, my parents are in Colombia now. My sister lives in LA. So, I've got a husband and my daughter and I've got my husband's family. But actually family of my own, I don't have any here.
Nothing at all.
No one.
That's brave.
So that's still.
So when they started the family, because you were little, decided to stay in London, how old were you?
11.
11 when you decided to come. So before 11, you used to have little trips to come.
Yeah, because my dad worked here.
Okay, how was the English going on?
Well, there was no English when you're like on trips. It's just you come to see. But learning English was it was a huge barrier, a huge barrier. Just being in a foreign country, in a school where it's completely different. Not being able to communicate, it's hard. It's a trauma. And I always say, child migration is a trauma because the child actually doesn't make the decision. It's the parents who make the decision for whatever reason, for a better life. It's always going to be for a better life. And how, whatever the reasons are, if it's financial, economic, or just to move to be with family, it's traumatic for a child.
Yeah, it's hard to understand. I came here when I was 10. So I was in my year 6 the last year. And the English I was in Latina, the little classroom. So I understand. And I know how the process on how being lonely, the food, having your mom working all day, no one being at home when you come back with your brother, because I was my brother, and so. And it's hard. It's hard. It's traumatic. Like, you get traumatized so many. And then at the end, you become the translator in school for the Latinas that they were coming in. So translate for others.
Well, you see, where we moved to, there was no Latinos. Like at my secondary school, there were only 2 Latinas, me and my sister. So we were always like los bichos raros
Yes.
from the school. It was a very, it was a convent girls' school, more sort of in the suburbs of Croydon, very Irish Catholic sort of secondary school. So physically, we looked very, very different. Back in the day, Colombia had, terrible sort of reputation. So that as well, a lot of the racism that we faced. So we actually, I have lots of conversations with people. Yeah, and then we had to be the translator. I actually had never had that at school because there was no one to translate for. So yeah, that in itself was, coming, like migrating in the times when Colombia was going through a difficult time.
Croydon's far away.
Yeah, the thing with Croydon, it's really big. It's a huge, huge borough. So when I I still live in Croydon. I say, well, I live in Croydon. They're like, oh, around here? I'm like, no. And I'm like, a part where they've never even heard of, where I more or less live in Bromley. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Getting to follow the interview. I just would like to find out, because you're a EAL teacher. That's amazing. And especially your accent as well.
Oh my gosh, everyone always says that.
About your accent,
and
sure.
I always kind of feel paranoid about my own English at times, because there's some times where I struggle still to pronounce words, and sort of when I'm in meetings and different sort of, depends what environment you're in. But actually one of the things, there's nothing wrong with accents. I think accents are beautiful, but, different people have different views on accents. My dad didn't want me to have an accent, so he enrolled me in speech and drama lessons at school. Okay. So I had speech and drama lessons at school, which I hated. I absolutely hated them. I was a bit of a rebellious teenager. I would not go to the lessons, bunk, all sorts of things that I'm on my students now. Don't do that, don't do that. And yeah, so I had speech and drama lessons, so I laugh about them now, because like the mistakes that my students make, I'm like, okay, you don't pronounce it like that. And the reason I know is because my speech and drama teacher would be correcting me all the time. Thing with London, we always say London, but it's London. She would always say, Claudia, it's not London, it's London. So I'd be like, things like that.
Yeah, things like that. But how did you achieve to become what you are now, like EA teacher?
Oh my gosh.
What was the process? Because I heard around that your mom's also the teacher, or she was a teacher. I don't know about now.
Yeah. So my mum was a teacher in Colombia. My mum came to the UK to learn English when she was young. Then she met my dad. They got married. Then they went back to Colombia. My mum was actually a teacher in Colombia, but further down along the line here, she had to redo her whole teaching degree because they don't accept it here. Yeah. So my mum then became a teacher, and she actually was also an EAL teacher in Croydon many years ago, when it barely even existed. And she was also a Spanish lecturer at actually Croydon College. So my mum was a teacher, but I actually never wanted to be a teacher. It wasn't like I saw my mum growing up and I wanted to be a teacher. No way.
What did you want it to be?
So I wanted to work in an airline, in aviation, because my dad worked for an airline. So we'd always have amazing holidays. This is when, like back in the day when British Airways used to fly from London, Bogota. We actually used to go for like long weekends to Bogota. It sounds ridiculous, but it's simply because my dad worked in an airline, and in those days, airlines, if you worked for an airline, you had like these super privileges. So it's only because of that. It was like, I think we paid like only the tax on the ticket or something like that. So I actually always wanted to work for an airline because I've always loved traveling. I still do. Always loved traveling.
Azafata.
No, so I didn't want to be azafata. My dad was never azafato. How do you even say that? Tripulante. That's what they use on the airlines. Question. Tripulante. Anyway, so so he worked at like the main ticket office for the airline. So he was like a manager of the main ticket office, not in the airport, but where they have ticket offices. So I kind of wanted to go into sort of that role, but he was like, no, don't do that. you know what like parents are like, especially Latino parents. They, you know, you have to, certain roles are the only roles that exist in our culture. Like,
And also for the money, get something that gives you money.
Yeah, it's like doctor, lawyer. What's it? What else do they like?
That what they like.
Abogado, médico, administración de empresa, all that sort of.
All of that is
that's, you
any
know,
artistic stuff.
Exactly. No, absolutely not. That's like the worst thing ever. So I actually wanted to go into that, but then I didn't do that because they didn't let me, really. So that was that, but it's okay. I got, you know, everyone has a different path. So I did A-levels, then I did like accounting, which absolutely
Got nothing
to do with my life. Don't even like numbers. Which is why I always say to parents, it's really important, let your children decide what they want to do. But I did finish it. So I'm into, you know, you start something, you finish something. And then I had mi Lorenita.
Yeah.
Had mi Lore.
Were you quite young after the A-levels or?
Yeah, a little bit after my A-levels. And then I enrolled to do a beauty course because actually that's what I wanted to do. I forgot. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do beauty therapy because I've always loved the beauty industry, makeup, and I still do. But obviously that's a terrible career in a Latino household.
Apparently.
Apparently for them.
Now it's blowing everywhere.
Exactly. You know, and it's one of those careers that you can use in any country in the world. So I actually went and I did that and I was really happy and I loved it. And I worked at a salon and, you know, I was very much into my beauty therapy and, you know, I was fine. My daughter started primary school and they were looking for volunteers to read. In those times, I was working at the salon in the evenings. So I just volunteered to read. They gave me Portuguese children because they said that I'd be able to communicate.
In primary school.
Yeah, communicate with them. I was like, well, I don't speak Portuguese, but we'll try. And then kind of from there, I just started remembering all kind of conversations I'd have with my mum about working at schools. And I really enjoyed working with these children. And sort of I just started thinking, oh, my gosh, when I was at school, I didn't have support like this. And I was, you know, and I really enjoyed it. So I think things have always fallen into my line, my path, wherever I'm meant to go. Unfortunately for her, not for me, the TA went off on sort of long-term sick.
Oh, okay.
So then the teacher was like, well, Claudia, you've been working here, like come in 3 days a week, whatever, to read. The kids kind of know you. Yeah. Why don't you just like see if you can just do her role? I mean, every 2 weeks she's going to say if she's coming in or not the next week. So it's not anything like secure. I said, okay, all right. Well, I might as well. So I started there and I was there actually. I ended up being there for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
But I, you know, then during that time I was like, I think I really, really enjoyed this. But I liked more my role working with children who were new to the country. My daughter was at the same school, so I didn't, you know, it's always going to happen. There's going to be things that you think a school does really well and things that you think, oh, I don't really like that. Mm-hmm. And for me, working in the same school as my daughter, I didn't think it was right for me to see the things that I didn't think were done in a way that I would, you know, that I agreed with. I also think it was important for her to have her own space as well from La Mama. Exactly. So I applied for a role that was specifically for EAL at another school. It was a TA role. And I got it. Yeah. So I left there at the end of the school year and I started at this school. And it just kind of all evolved from there. I started as the EAL TA. And then I was like, oh, I want to do a bit more. So I specialised in ethnic minority achievement because there actually isn't like a EAL teacher kind of qualification. You have to do kind of different qualifications to get there. Yeah. So I became an ethnic minority achievement specialist, which I did at Greenwich University while I was working. And then it kind of sort of evolved. I got my CELTA qualification, which is the teaching qualification for English as a second language. And then I sort of became head of department at that primary school. And it was there and I was really happy. I was there almost 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Starting
almost
from
9 years.
volunteering.
Yeah, exactly. So starting from volunteering at the previous primary school, then starting as a EAL TA, then going through roles. And then things at that school started changing,
Yeah.
which weren't to my liking. So I started applying for other jobs. EAL roles are very, very hard to come by because the government doesn't see it as a legal requirement at any schools. So it's not a
Really?
legal requirement for there to be EAL support for children in schools. I know it's
That's
it's
crazy.
crazy. So like in a city like London, where there will be children,
Yeah.
and EAL doesn't mean children that are new to the country. So EAL is any child who hears another language besides English in their home environment. So those children that are born in the UK that hear Spanish, French, Portuguese, Arabic, Somali, whatever
So
language
many.
at home, they are EAL. Why? Because they're not coming from a fluent English-speaking household. There will be vocabulary that they will never hear, maybe in their household, and it's scientific. There'll be 2,000 words down
Yeah.
than their monolingual English-speaking peers at school. So that's what EAL means. When you look at the figures in schools, for example, the school where I currently work at, the EAL, I think we're almost at 60% because it includes all those other children. So that's kind of what you need to think about. When I think there's no support for these kids, it's absolutely ridiculous.
It's ridiculous because there should be more. apart from that.
Absolutely.
But you started fighting against that because I think
Yeah. I'm a bit of a fighter.
you are,
So
especially for the Latino industry.
yeah.
So,
I mean, but that kind of all evolved then at where I am now. So I wasn't too happy with what was going on there. So I thought, I'm going to apply for jobs. There's hardly any in the EAL field. One came up at a secondary school. I didn't really have much information about it on the job application. It was literally secondary school in Lambeth. And throughout my time at the primary school in Croydon, I had always said, I'd love to work one day in Lambeth and South because that's where the Latinos are. I didn't work with any Latinos, any Spanish-speaking children throughout my career.
oh wow.
In those days, Croydon, it was very Urdu-speaking, Polish and Romanian. That was my biggest cohort of students at the school. And I thought, well, I'm just going to apply for a job. It was through an agency as well, so it wasn't even a permanent contract, but I was really annoyed. So I just thought, let me just apply. I'm not going to get the job. I've got no secondary school experience. And I was called in for an interview. So I went for my interview, went really well. And literally the same day they offered me the job.
Nice.
So then I was really worried and panicked. I started panicking. I was like, oh my God, those children are really huge. They're like, physically, they're huge, and going from working like with a 4-year-old to like a 16-year-old, it's a huge jump. So I was like, okay, let me just go to the school one day and see how I feel at the school before I accept the offer. So I went and I really enjoyed it. I loved it. So that's how I started at where I am now. And I just started, when you start a role, you start off very, very new. You kind of just get on with what you have to do. When I first started, I think there was only about 35 Latin American students.
That was a lot.
In the whole school. People would say it was a lot, but now in comparison, it's not a lot. And then I just started sort of, feeling my way around the school and my job role and sort of changing some things within the job role. And then I think people kind of started, what Latinos are like, una profesora colombiana at the school. So people would call me for sort of information about education and support. And then I was like, there's a huge gap missing here for these kids. We do a lot for all the other demographics, but there's nothing here for these students. And we're a huge part of the local community. So I just started reaching out to people on social media. The only thing I could do, and this is from my other account, my private account. and sort of reaching out to friends. Hey, like, would you like to come and tell your story to kids? And it just kind of literally just started out like that, with me asking people to come in, giving up their free time to come in. And it kind of just evolved from there to become what it is now.
You got from there big ideas, because you started looking, and then the ideas just come, and you started working on that until now. Because I met you at the TED Talks, which was not planned, but it had to be. And tell us, how did you get to the TED Talks, apart from, always big fighter with the Latino community to get support, especially for children these days, that they don't know what to do with their lives.
Yeah.
And you managed to get to that stage.
Yeah, I don't even know, honestly. So it was kind of, I think, so I just started doing more and more and more. And I mean, once you kind of get a name for yourself, people, I guess, not so shy about, she is actually someone who's doing something, not like this crazy woman who's just contacting me or sending me an email. And that TED Talks, I think that would, so they must have contacted me. It would have been now about 2 years ago. And I received this email and I thought it was spam. So I didn't answer it because it was like, click on this link. I was like, I'm so scared. No, I don't click on links. And then they sent me another one and another one. So then I thought, let me just be, okay, I'm going to be brave and click on the link. And it turned out to be like an application form. So we'd like you to apply for this. So I was like, okay, seems legit. Let me apply and I'll fill out what I have to do. And then they go through the applications and you have to have an interview. So then I was called in for an interview. And I had my interview. I think they were interviewing, I think it was like 6 other people for these three, I don't know, roles, whatever. Yeah. And I got through. So then they were like, okay, what would you like to do your TED Talk? Well, we kind of know what you are, what you're about. That's why. Yeah. But, you need to now come up with your own TED Talk. But we're going to do it a bit differently. It's going to be a video. You're not live on stage. And that's how it came about. So then I wrote what I said on my video, and they came into the school and recorded it, and that's it. That's how it came about. But it came to me, I should say. Yes. And I'm very fortunate. I never looked for it, but I just feel very, very blessed to be able to have had that opportunity to do that as part of my experience throughout my life and sharing what I do, because I am hugely passionate about supporting migrant children and their families, because it's something that I went through.
You've been there.
That I see families still struggling with today. And unfortunately, not a lot has changed. I mean, it's sad that there's still the same struggles that we saw 20, 30 years ago. Families are still going through that today.
Yeah, there's some children or teenagers that don't want to be here. They want to go back to the country.
Most of them don't want to be here at the beginning.
I mean, honestly, I've been here 30 years and I don't want to die in London.
Yeah, I mean...
To be honest, I love London. I'm grateful for London. But my home is somewhere else. And honestly, either Colombia is interesting, because of course, I'm Colombian and I love Colombia. But I don't see myself in Colombia either. So it's just, everyone has their own. But other children, they do want to go back to their friends, their family, the food, the weather. The technology is less used, I think, back in our countries, because they could just go out and play outside and do other things.
Yeah, children are still children to some extent over there. It's a very different childhood here.
It's different. I think in London, they don't allow the children to use their creativity that much. They're always putting them to... I mean, it's nice to learn. Of course, it's nice to go and study and learn something. But all the time, you have to learn. And they all learn different.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why they get so bullied and stuff in school, because they get fed up of listening, blah, 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 same teacher. So in our countries, maybe they can use the creativity more with like going outside, playing with this, doing that. But in London, it's just a different thing. Technology all the time.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest downfalls in society today. I love technology. I love social media. But I think one of the biggest downfalls we've got today with our young people is social media and the internet. It's just corrupting and destroying their minds. It really is.
It is, and it's really sad. It's really sad. I would just wanted to ask you a question about further in the future, or do you have any projects, any plans to keep on helping our community, especially the young people?
Well, my plan is always to help the community, to always be sort of an advocate for the community. Now, plans, like I said, I never really have like that I know I'm going to do something. Like I say, it's always things that happen. There is one plan, but I can't talk about that plan just yet. So there is something coming up.
Yeah.
But lots of things that I do throughout the year, it is literally people contacting me saying, Claudia, we want to do this, or an external organisation, Claudia, can we do this? So it's all, I wouldn't say very last minute, but it is things that I haven't got in my calendar at the moment.
Yeah.
But I know things are always coming up.
Yeah. Any advice for those teachers, Latin Americans? Because I did my TA teacher assistant as well, and I work with children, but I couldn't go further because of my health, so I had to stop. But any tips or any advice, because it's not easy working with children, it's not easy at all. Any advice for those women or girls that are getting ready to become teachers?
I would just say be true to yourself and to your values and to your morals. That's very important with teaching. It's not an easy job. I would say it's one of the hardest jobs around. But don't give up and always think that, you're doing this for the children that you're working with. And at the end of the day, they're the ones that matter. We have a lot of things that we do in our roles that is not sort of what I think most people would assume. I think most people think, okay, you're a teacher, so you're standing in front of kids all day just teaching. Actually, that's a tiny part of our role. A lot of it is data and admin and, planning things, and it can get very overwhelming, but I always think it's really important to stay true to yourself in whatever role you are. You need to be true to yourself, true to your values and to your morals, and I think that will help you achieve whatever you want to accomplish in whatever your career is. And not to be afraid to bring that part of your personality into your teaching. I think that's really important. And I personally feel, I think that makes me stand out because I'm very much myself as a teacher. Obviously, there's a boundary that you have with your students, but I like to, obviously everything appropriately, I like to joke around with my students. If they, like to have that banter with them. It's important to build relationships with your students, that they see you as a human, as a person, and not just as a teacher.
How would you say this?
Almost like a robot. I sometimes think like sometimes kids see teachers as like, I'm a human, I'm a person. Like I said to them, if I might be, depends what mood I'm in, if might be a bit harsh with a student.
Someone told me that when you get a little bit tough.
Yeah, I am really tough.
Scary.
Yeah, I am scary. They are scared of me. But sometimes, I'll be like, okay, I'm sorry about that. But, let's have these conversations. This is why I was like that. And this is why you need to see why I was like that. I just think it's important to be yourself.
Yeah, I think it's part of the communication as well that
absolutely.
you have with the children.
That's it. Have that open communication with them, and respect them. Yeah. Because as much as we as adults and teachers deserve respect, they also deserve that respect, and it's important for them to feel respected.
Yeah, I think we all come from there. We were teenagers before. Just to never forget that we were that. Like you said to me, they're doing things that you used to do.
Yeah, and
like bunk in school. I used to bunk in school as well. Back then it was easier because you just had to write a letter and fake your mom's signature, just give it out and go for chicken and chips.
They can't do that now. I'll just call their parents and in Spanish.
So that must be another headache. You call in why show proof. So it's more difficult right now than before, and they're doing that. But coming back to the subject, and in the teaching, I know that I already asked you if you have any plans. You might have plans or something maybe coming up soon. But you just want to move up from there? Have you ever thought of becoming a head teacher?
No,
or that'll
absolutely
be,
not. I'm
no,
not going to be
no,
a head teacher. Absolutely not.
You're happy with your
With my role, I
with the
did.
role?
It already consumes a lot of my time. I have. It's not that I don't want to aspire to be anything more. I'm happy where I am now. What I do aspire to is be able to do more things within my community. So with that, I do want to do a lot more. I'm forever talking about recognition for Latin Americans in the UK. So I want to, that's one of my big focuses at the moment. So I aspire maybe not moving up the career ladder at the moment, but I do aspire in sort of my community sort of work, because I feel that I almost have kind of two jobs that are interlinked with my sort of community work that I do.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because you're the only teacher that I have ever met doing this for the Latin community. They just work as a teacher and they don't care. That's it. They do the role and that's it. But you feel it because you've been there.
Yeah, I think I always say as well, it depends kind of your personality, how confident you feel doing certain things. The Claudia that I am now is not the Claudia that I was when I started, when I did, because now sort of I've grown in confidence with being able to reach out to people, time management as well. My daughter is also an adult, so I've got a lot more time. So, I can do certain things on a Saturday or a Sunday, not if I have to, but if I want to, with the children, if I stay longer. So I think it just all depends on
everything
the person.
changes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Going back to your personal life a little bit, I like to ask this question. I don't know if you heard it somewhere. Always asking the same question, but it's interesting because it makes you think on how much you achieve in life, and how would you like to have treat yourself back then, because you were just a child. So the question is, if you had the power to go back and speak to a little Claudia, what would you tell that little girl?
I would tell her it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to want things that maybe not other people want you to want, sort of career-wise and things like that. It doesn't make you a bad person. That you don't, how can I say this? You don't have to do what your family and what the adults around you want you to do, what they want you to do. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to have emotions, and it's okay to want things that they don't want. What you feel is important is actually what you feel is important. I don't know with other communities, but I think within the Latin American community, there's a lot of harshness there when it comes to parenting, with emotions, with your feelings not being validated. And that's for girls. I think for boys as well. It's totally the emotional thing. Not being listened to.
Yeah, the machismo is
it's horrendous.
And it's still going
and it's
on.
still horrendous. It's still horrendous.
Still.
So I think that just, it's okay to be you. You don't need to fit into this stereotype or to this. You don't need to be the Claudia that you think your parents want you to be. It's okay for you to have feelings. It's okay for you to want to be a beautician. It's okay, those kind of things. It's, I think that's what it is.
I think we should just, as Latinos or everyone actually, they should just try a little bit of, if they don't like it, it's fine. Just keep
you'll
going.
find your path.
There'll be time, as long as you're alive. It's never too late, as long as you're alive. Because I also did, I'm beauty therapist now, but I did teacher assistant. I did so many things. I'm like, okay, here I am doing something else that I love. As long as you get to the point to do what you love. And that's what it is. That's what makes you happy, not just following the money all the time.
Absolutely.
Because that's what they told us, just to follow the money. But when you die,
you're not going to take it with you.
You're not going to take it with you. And that's how that's life is. So it was amazing. It's a short interview for now. Thank you so much for coming. I just want you to tell the guests, where can we find you?
So you can find me on social media. I mainly use Instagram, and my Instagram is linked to my Facebook, but you can just find me with using @la_miss_Lopez on Instagram and Facebook. And that's how you can find me and see what I'm getting up to with my kiddies and all around London with
You
niños.
get lots of teddy bears as well. I've seen that.
Oh, they're so cute. I get lots of teddy bears and empanadas, which I don't complain about, and pan de hornos. So yes, get lots of teddies and lots of chocolates and hugs and letters.
What you give is what you get. Thank you so much for coming to the Inspiring One podcast. So thank you for listening, and see you next time.